WTVA 9 News coverage of the Egg Bowl is sponsored by Reed's Department Store, Chickasaw Equipment, and Barnes Crossing Hyundai.
Now under 24 hours until the annual battle for the Golden Egg will be underway. Now heading into this matchup, the Bulldogs are coming in at 2-9 and winless in SEC play. The Ole Miss Rebels came into the season with high hopes of making the 12-team college football playoffs. Now they sit with the record of 8-3 and, quite frankly, a very small chance of making the dance. Earlier this week, I got a chance to sit down with Ole Miss beat writer Brad Logan, and we talked about what went wrong for the Rebels this season, what went right for them, and how they still need to show up to win this game tomorrow afternoon, even with such a small chance at the playoffs.
I think your motivating factor, Jason, if you're Lane Kiffin, is to say there's a chance, although small, we could make a college football playoff. What can we do to enhance those voters? Go out, beat Mississippi State handily. I think Ole Miss, if that's the best path for Ole Miss to get up for a team like a Mississippi State, which I have no doubt will bring everything they have on Friday.
Obviously, this being an in-state rivalry can amplify the magnitude of the game. However, Ole Miss has plenty of players who aren't from the state of Mississippi. So what's something that the staff can do to get them motivated to take on a 2-9 team?
Tom Luke, a member of the Ole Miss staff, was a great quarterback back in the 1990s for Ole Miss. He addresses the team every year and kind of encourages them to get ready for the Egg Bowl. This is a game with two teams that are kind of going in opposite directions. And it feels like, Jason, that as well as Ole Miss is playing, although they've had the 3 losses, between these two teams in regards to recruiting and, putting their stamp on the state of Mississippi, it feels like if Ole Miss can come out and do what people think they can do on the field on Friday, it could absolutely put as much separation between the two teams than they've ever had in the history of the rivalry.
Ole Miss's offense has been really good for the most part of the season. However, a huge glaring question that never really got answered by Lane Kiffin is what happened with Ulysses Bentley and the rest of the running back room this year?
I think the Bentley question, it's all about evaluation, and we've not been given a clear answer, which tells me they just don't feel like that Ulysses Bentley is the running back that gives them the best success to win a football game. Really, you look at the running game for Ole Miss, when they parted ways with Quinshon Judkins, when he elected to transfer to Ohio State, they went all in with Ulysses Bentley, and they went all in with Henry Parrish Jr. Henry Parrish Jr. was injured in the Arkansas game, and then Ulysses Bentley just has not panned out at running back.
Just simply put, how good has this Ole Miss defense been this year?
This Ole Miss defense under head coach defense coordinator Pete Golding has been really good. They're number 1 in team sacks. They're number 1 in tackles for loss, number 3 in fumbles recovered, and number 2 in rushing defense. That's in the country. But you look at Ole Miss defensively, it's the best Ole Miss team maybe in history. And I think if you ask Ole Miss fans, they will tell you that it's a shame that this team is going to go 9-3 or 9-4, 10-3, what have you, and miss the college football playoff if it can beat Mississippi State on Friday.
Ole Miss is heading into this game with 3 losses already. 2 of those absolute stunners, those being to Kentucky and Florida. Just what do you believe is the main reason that Ole Miss already has 3 losses heading into this game?
Here's the deal for me, Jason, is the number 1 component of why Ole Miss has been unsuccessful in their games, the 3 losses, in which possibly and theoretically is going to keep them out of the college football playoff. In the red zone, Ole Miss is 5 for 11. Their oppositions are 7 for 7 in the red zone. Now, that's no indictment on one of the best defenses in college football. This is more or less a stat about the offense. Ole Miss, for whatever reason, in their losses this year, they have gotten bogged down in the red zone, have made some head-scratching calls offensively, and just quite frankly have not done what they needed to do to win the games.
Also worth noting that after last week's loss to Florida, Ole Miss is now 0 for 3 in one-score games. A very big difference from last season where the Rebels were 4-0 in such games. We're going to see what happens tomorrow during the annual battle of the Golden Egg.